Hey, it's your girl, Stacy Bullock, your host for Tools for Everyday Living. We are back. It is another beautiful Friday in the state of California, and we are just loving our moments that we have here right now with this beautiful sunshine. But let me tell you, I have a guest on the show today that is a ray of sunshine, a beam of light, hope. Oh my goodness. I don't know if she even understands how bright her light shines and how much she means to this world. And not just because she's an entrepreneur, but because she is somebody who is willing to be creative and think outside the box. The name of her company is Born to Roam, and we're gonna get into that. But I just want to talk to you all a little bit before she comes on. I'm gonna tell you some more, and she's gonna tell you some good stuff too. But I want to talk to us about being adventurous, especially as an entrepreneur. This is somebody who is going to have to be willing to take a risk, going to have to be willing to trust yourself, going to be willing to have to believe that you deserve every good thing that comes your way, and believe that you have the ability for the things that come your way that don't feel so good. Know that you are equipped to make it through your process. I was about to say this process, but let's be real specific here. And it's your process, it's my process. We all have our own, but we have to be willing to step outside the box. I always hear and always think about this thing. It's called critical thinking. And my take on it is just that I just have to get outside the box to come up with a viable solution. And I'm so happy that we have somebody here today who has come up with a viable solution. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you Miss Jennifer Senegal Bell Cornelius.
Hello, Stacy.
How are you?
I
Looking
am
beautiful over there.
great and grateful. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm so honored. Thank you. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday is right. Is so true. And I'm glad you said it that way because sometimes we wish that Friday would come, and then I have to stop and think sometimes and say, you know what? Am I wishing my life away? Do I want to hurry up and skip past some things that I might need? I may not always like it, but there may be some things that I might need that happens during the week that will strengthen me for the following week, for the things that are coming up. But you
That's
know
right.
what,
That's right.
Jennifer, I want to jump right into Born to Roam.
Yes, let's get
I
into
I
it.
want to jump. Well, first, I don't want to jump too far, but I know that we want to know about you, the woman Jennifer, and because without you, there was no Born to Roam. So
Yeah.
let's hear about you and the excitement that you're experiencing right now in life.
Wow. So life is very busy for me right now, with having this brand, and it's fairly new. I launched in 2019. But I like to say that the brand is still really only 3 years old because of COVID, um, and me really understanding what it means to be an entrepreneur and own a business and be a CEO. So fully understanding the processes that, um, knowing what it takes to run and operate is very taxing. So I really just figured it out maybe, and I mean I shouldn't even say figured it out. I'm still figuring it out every day, obviously, but to really grasp what I'm doing, um, and be able to say, okay, I kind of have a hang of it. So the last few years have been extremely rewarding, but challenging and overwhelming and frustrating and all the things. But it's been a good time, and I am doing my best to enjoy the journey because I realize that this is my purpose in life. This is my calling. So I have to learn to enjoy the journey in spite of the challenges that I face. So I do spend most of my days and my nights working on the brand because I'm scaling the business at this point and doing a lot of collaborating and it's a lot, but I'm so grateful for the experience and I'm grateful that God chose me to take this path because I don't feel like everyone can, I think it's glamorous on social media. Entrepreneurship looks very, very, very glamorous. It is everything but. So I'm grateful that I was chosen for this role. It's almost like being a mother. Like I'm honored to be a mom. This is another baby to me. So I'm honored that God chose me to be a mom to Born to Rome, even though she stresses me out more than probably my son does. The daughter stresses me out just as much, if not more.
Yes, and I'm so glad. You see here, people, we have on this show tools for everyday living, real real time things for life. Not just, oh, it's everything is wonderful and great. I'm so glad that you put it that way and you said about the social media aspect of it because we know that's a big, huge part of society right now, but it's not the only part.
Mhm. Yeah,
And so, to make it look effortless, I think can sometimes be a challenge for
for sure.
those who are watching.
For
But
sure.
I read something in your bio that was a passion, a push to start the business, and it had to do with Black women.
Mhm.
So tell us about that aspect of it.
Yeah, so the reason that I created Born to Rome, I actually started with other accessories. So I actually started with belts. I have an affinity for thrifting and all things vintage. That is my love. I grew up thrifting. My mom would literally take me to thrift stores and drop me off there, and she would be at the Bible bookstore next door, and she's like, "You could stay there for as long as you need to. Here's like $10," and I would come back with bags of clothes. So there is a uniqueness, and I was able to develop my own style because I was putting different clothes together and not really following any rules. We didn't have a lot of money, so it just worked. So when I initially started designing, it was just accessorizing with belts and with bags and hats have always been my thing. I've always been a hat girl. I'm an accessory fiend by nature. I love accessorizing. So whether it's an earring, whether it's rings, bangles, bracelets, bags, I love accessories. Um,
Mm.
so I've always been known for hats. But one thing I realized in my journey of purchasing hats from other people, I would never be able to just walk into the store and find a hat that would fit me if I'm wearing a protective hairstyle. So, um, I realized like just going to department stores. So, whatever the department store is, Target, Zara, their hats would be like a size small or medium. And I'm like, do they even consider the fact that Black women are wearing protective hairstyles? Because we are uniquely made in that sense. And when I would purchase hats from higher end designers, it's like, okay, so now I'm spending a lot more money for the hat when this is unnecessary. So I realized that it was a pain point that needed to be addressed. And I thought, what if I incorporated hats into Born to Rome? Now this is completely pivoting because I had this, I thought belts were going to be like my end all be all. And, of course, that's not how business works. Business, you think you have this one idea and then sometimes it shifts into a completely different direction. And I had to be open to pivoting. And it actually is really interesting because someone will see me, and if I don't have on a hat, they're like, "Oh my God, Jen, I didn't even realize that was you." So it worked out, but I I developed the brand based on the fact that I'm having an issue finding a product that can fit my hair because I'm wearing a weave or braids or locks or whatever the case may be, a wig. So I knew that there had to be thousands of other Black women, millions of other Black women that are experiencing the same issue. And it's a shame that we are always left out of the conversation. We are always, there's never a seat at the table for us. We have to always come up with our own stuff. And it's just, it's very typical, right? When it comes to Black folks, Black women in particular. So it was frustrating, yet also um very satisfying, because I felt like there was purpose
Mhm.
in that
Mhm.
journey, and
Mhm.
understanding that, okay, this is actually where I can make a difference for my fellow sistren.
That is perfect.
Yeah.
What a way to end that part right there. That what a way to give back. What a way to, okay, you know what? I see a need. Most people may not see it as a need, but the way you just so eloquently put it, there's a need. When we go to look for something, whatever that thing is,
Mhm.
we as Black women ought to be taken into consideration as to will this be applicable to our lives as
Right.
well. And
And I don't mean to cut you off. I was going to say something else that I would encounter, and it was very daunting because I would do a lot of markets and pop-ups for my business, a lot of community outreach. And when I
Mhm.
would display my hats for customers, the first thing that will come out of a Black woman's mouth is, "Oh my God, I love hats so much, but I know it can't fit my head." And I'm like, "Oh my God." And they would just dash off because they knew, I mean, no one wants rejection, right? No one
Right,
wants you to tell them it won't fit. Like,
right,
I'm sorry, your head is too big, your hair is too
right,
big. And it's
right,
not just us wearing protective hairstyles. Some people just have larger heads, right? So they just need a
right.
little extra room. But I found that extremely daunting. The fact that
Mhm.
we don't even want to hear the rejection. So it was, I love hats, but I know I can't fit it. Gotta go, And I would like reel them back in, like, no, 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 no. I actually make hats that are in extra large sizes.
For
As I
exactly.
grow, they'll be double XL. But that was the other part of, this journey and experimenting
Yes,
and understanding what exactly is I need to be doing for my company and for other women.
exactly.
I'm of service to them.
Exactly. Keyword service. We
Yeah,
always have to remember that we are providing a service. We are providing a gift, a present for the individual who is present there with us.
right.
And so we always have to make sure that we are able to, how can I say, give them the best
Hmm.
of who we are through our gift. And
Yeah,
I know that that's what happens when you are receiving customers. And so I hate to take a break, but we have to because you brought up some words that could have just taken our conversation. Well, actually, is going to take our conversation when we come back to a different place because you talked about rejection. And I know that happens in as an entrepreneur.
oh yeah,
And people have to learn how to know that that's a part of life. This is going to happen. And we must have the tools to bounce back from it. And
hmm
like you were just saying about the ladies who didn't even want to stop to try on a hat because they had already been indoctrinated with something that is not true. And so this is where our conversation could go a little different
yeah,
because people, we need to understand that just because somebody says no or something that we don't agree with or something that is not fulfilling for us, that we cannot allow it to dictate how we think about everything else.
that's right. That's
and,
right.
and and so you are giving us a new perspective on how to be creative, how to grow, how to develop yourself, as you said, for your business. But your business is a gift that's given to others. So I gotta take a break. Oh, okay.
We gotta pay some bills.
Yes. I'm like, wait a minute. All right, we'll be right back, people. I promise you, we won't be gone long.
Have you found yourself wondering, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Recognizing the stranger in the mirror is the book for you. It helps us to unravel the mystery of who you really are, revealing your life's passion and why you should unveil the real you to the world. We need you. You are valuable and necessary for those who are connected to you. Do not be afraid to peek in and discover all your gifts and talents to share. It's real freedom when we reveal our authenticity. Stacey Bullock is a 2-time best-selling author, transformational speaker, and host of Tools for Everyday Living TV show. She is committed to igniting resilience, personal transformation, and building life skills of her audiences and clients. The author of 2 previously written self-help books, Beaten Oil and Regain Power Through Resilience, Don't Let Your Brain Go Numb. Stacey imparts lessons that teaches readers to utilize their light as a guide for others, and discovering inner strength and resiliency to bounce back when life throws curveballs. Stacey may be reached for speaking engagements, leadership and employee training, and life skills coaching via her email at stacy@powerandresilience.com.
Like I promised, we are back. And I was sitting over here while you were speaking earlier, and I was writing down words. But I have to just stop to take just a moment here right now, because I don't know if I did it as concretely as I would love to, as I do always, and say I'm so grateful for this show. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to share with the world the different topics that we have. And today is another dynamic topic for those of you who are already entrepreneurs, who want to become an entrepreneur. We're not here to sugarcoat and make you think everything is going to be wonderful. But what we are here to do is provide you with some necessary tools so that you will have them in your human toolbox, and you'll be able to continue when life sometimes throws us some of these words that we're going to just briefly talk about here. So I heard you say grasp, challenging, collaborating, and chosen.
Mhm.
And without the last one, I believe that that's where we get in trouble. So how do you equate your passion for what you do, um, as being chosen to do it?
So I think that passion is important. Um, Passion obviously is having fire in your belly and having the desire to withstand whatever it is and having that resilience. But I think I just had this conversation the other day with my esthetician. I do think that there's a fine line between passion and purpose. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that I have to be purposeful
Mm-hmm.
um, in my journey, because
Mm-hmm.
passion can fizzle. You know what I mean? Especially
Mm-hmm.
in this entrepreneurial space. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm always in a mood. You know, I'm either crying or I'm jumping for joy about something. It's There's ebbs and flows, just like with life. Um,
Mm-hmm.
one minute I may be, having a mental breakdown, and I'm like crying to my husband and saying, "Why is this not working properly?" And then, the next day things are better. So
Mm-hmm.
passion is, at the end of the day, I mean, it kind of goes up and down, right? I love
Mm-hmm.
what I do. I obviously feel fulfilled in the space, but the
Mm-hmm.
purpose, I
Mm-hmm.
think, is what really drives me and keeps me
Mm-hmm.
um, very intentional. And they can coexist. Um, and I think that they do. And I try
Yes.
not to get them confused, right? I try to remind myself that there is purpose in what I'm doing. Um, and I am being very intentional, and I'm making sure that women of color, that we are seen and we are heard. And that is even in my name, Born to Rome, it signifies all of that. So I always say
Mhm.
that I don't just sell hats. I am here to sell confidence, I am the
Mhm.
ultimate encourager. And the passion is important, because that's what fuels you every day for the most part. But having
Mhm.
purpose, that creates the real um that creates the revenue, that creates, the the accolades, that creates the fulfillment. So um I hope that answered your question.
Oh
But
yeah.
passion is important, but I also feel like we have to be purposeful in the journey.
You have to be. You have to be. I mean, you like I just said, we're here to get tools, and we need to understand that there's not just one way, and
Definitely.
we have multiple components that we need to go on this journey. We
That's right.
need passion. We must know without a doubt that we have purpose, and that the purpose and the passion, we have to figure out how they intermingle.
Hmm.
And so, finding that, yes, you continue to get fuel, but then, like you said, what about those days when we're like, okay, this is
I'm
not working
depleted.
for me?
I'm depleted. Like, there's
Yeah.
days that I'm depleted, and I literally am like, what did I get myself into? Why am I even
Mm.
doing this? I am frustrated, having an anxiety attack, all of the things. I mean, going back to therapy, because I'm trying to figure out, okay, why am I feeling this way?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time,
Mm-hmm.
it's because of the
Mm-hmm.
business is bringing out emotions and feelings
Mm-hmm.
that I never knew
Mm.
that I had. I mean, I had a baby at 18. I would have thought that I would have felt some of this, years ago. The way that I
Uh-huh.
feel from time to time, I'm like, oh my God.
From
Maybe I
this
was young.
baby.
Maybe I was too
From-
young to
from-
recognize it. But
no,
this
but
baby has
this
stressed me out
baby,
beyond.
because this one is, in my opinion, is a eternal baby,
Right,
because it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop the movement, doesn't stop the growth,
right.
and we know how, as moms, you know how uncomfortable it can get
That's right.
when there's a human being growing on the inside of you. Just think about this gift that we have growing on the inside of us, that is to serve millions, not just one baby,
Right.
is to serve people everywhere.
That's right.
And so the encouragement, it takes a reason for us to know that we are encourager. Something has to happen for us to know that.
Yeah.
And so I heard you say a couple of things while you were speaking, and I just got that from it. But it's growth, and growth is uncomfortable
It
sometimes.
is.
Not
It is.
sometimes. Let me take that word out of the equation.
It's growing pains.
It's right. And so now we have to change our perspective for those of us who want to become an entrepreneur, and are growing a business. We have to say, I don't really like this, but there's something that's going to fuel me. And for you, it was the unusual thing for me to think of, actually, as a Black woman, um, who didn't think about wearing hats, even though I was in the military most of my life. So I wore a hat all the time. But my style had to be conducive to what they told me to conform to.
Right.
That's a whole nother segment. So now that part of the conforming is gone, um, yes, I like to wear hats. I enjoy them now. And I had that thought. And you know what I did though? because I believe that we are the kind of women who walk in my acronym for BUT. It says believers understanding truth.
Oh, I love that. Love
And
that.
so when there's that but right there, okay, believers understanding truth, there's something else that can happen. There's
Yeah.
something that can be created. There's some Jennifers in the world that are going to come up with some ideas that are going to tell the world, no, we can do it this way. And it's gonna work. But then we do have those hiccups, but that's when we get back to that part of being chosen.
Hmm.
That's when we say, okay, it doesn't stop for me. This what I'm doing with you right now, it doesn't stop. I can come up with ideas every day, all day. Sometimes I have to go shh,
Mute them.
shh.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
So
I
so
know.
how does that go with you? I saw about you being adventurous, and this is what opened up some
Yeah.
doors.
So, I will tell you as a creative, I'm sure you can attest to this. I think you're constantly having ideas pop and you want to incorporate. What I have learned, and a dear friend told me this, and she is also an entrepreneur. She's a serial entrepreneur, as a matter of fact. And remember, I told you I started this business actually with belts. And when we were making this transition, and I was like, Born to Roam is like, it's doing okay, but it's not where I want it to be. It's not scaling at the rate I want it to. And so she just simply told me, she's like, we have to focus on one thing. Okay, the hero product is the hats. So if the hero product is a hat, we have to get rid of everything else on the site. So there's no more apparel, there's no more belts, there's no more bags, there's no more jewelry. And I was designing all of these things, and that is, I mean, I'm a fashion girl, so I love creating. As a matter of fact, it not only do I love creating, I love when someone sees something that I'm wearing and I'm like, oh, you can get my whole outfit, go to my website. That used to make me feel so amazing. And it was very satisfying. But then I realized that you have to focus. And what she explained to me is once you hone in and focus on one thing and one thing only, watch, you know, watch how the business just explodes. And that's exactly what happened. Once I decided, let me start liquidating some of this stuff because I'm diversifying, but I'm diversifying too quickly. Essentially, I need to diversify once I become known as, oh, Born to Roam. They're the one that has they're the company that has hats for women who wear protective hairstyles. They're the hat company, and it was very frustrating for me because I'm like, oh my God, I designed all these pieces and now I'm liquidating them. But none of that mattered because at the end of the day, I'm also allocating my budget where I shouldn't be, right? So I'm spending money where I don't need to be when I need to be hyper focusing on the product that is actually running the business, which is the hats. So um when it comes to being a creative and wanting to be everywhere, I've learned that it's just virtually impossible. You know what I mean? I've read before in a book, there's really no such thing as multitasking. You have to, I mean, we all think that we do it. I mean, we do it all the time, every day, but are we truly multitasking? Because something's going to lack, right? We're going to lack in one
Something,
area.
something, yes.
So I learned in talking to my girlfriend, who is like an ambassador for me, and she is just my everything when it comes to business because she understands. She's like, I get it, but this is what you have to do. And once I decided to make that pivot, um, I can't say enough that, I mean, my business has propelled at a rate that I'm like, oh my God, this worked. Um, in terms of adventure, I'm an adventurous person by nature. Um,
Mhm.
that's just in my blood. I love to travel. I love to experience new things. I'm a risk taker, sometimes to a fault. My husband and I were just having this conversation the other day. I was like, I know that I take very random risks. He's more of a calculated risk taker. But I'm just one of those people where I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? Let's just figure it out. And I think it's DNA. My mother is like that. My grandmother is like that. So it's partially, DNA. And then I always come from a perspective of if I don't try it, then I failed, So at least I will have, the opportunity to say, oh, I did try it. It didn't work out that well, or I tried it. And my God, Born to Rome is seven figures,
Right,
your business.
right.
So adventure comes in many forms. Yes, I travel a lot. Yes, that's my love language. But at the end of the day, I'm adventurous just in mindset. I read a lot of
Hmm.
self help books. I'm big on pushing myself. I'm my own competition, but I love to encourage others in a space because I think most of us are afraid. We don't have a
Hmm.
blueprint
Hmm.
as Black women on how to
Right.
own and operate a business, right? We're doing it just based on, okay, well, this sounds like it makes sense. So let's just roll with it. Now I think
Let-
there's more opportunities for us to see other Black women that have done a really amazing job in business and have
Right.
thrived. But I don't think that I think that we have to do it afraid, as Joyce Myers would say. And that has always been my mantra.
We have to ignite creativity in us at all times because
Right.
it's there and we cannot allow it to lie dormant. Yeah, we just have to. My one of my famous sayings, you just said it. Figure it out.
Figure it
Got to
out.
figure. We have to figure it out,
Mhm.
and that is life in a nutshell. Regardless of what it brings, it's going to bring good. It's going to bring bad, but we have to figure it out because we're still here. Time has not stopped for us, and we must
I love
continue
that.
in
I love
this
that.
journey.
I love that so much. And that's important because I'm reading right now David Schwartz's book, The Magic of Thinking Big. And what he talks
Mm,
about is so often I think a lot of us feel like, oh my God, I'm 45 or I'm 50 and how can I start something new because I'm already, too old or too seniored or too seasoned. And he said something the other day as I'm reading the book and it's like, okay, well, how many years of working do we really have, right? I mean, we start working probably really working in our early 20s, right? Real
right,
jobs, real career driven opportunities come. And we work really until we're about 70 because we're living longer. So we work until
right.
we're around 75, really 70, 75. And so when you think about 40 and 50 years old, it's like you do have a whole another 20 years, 30 years to live. So why
Right.
put it in your head that you're too old to start something
E-
or you should have done it 25 years ago? I mean, I used to say that all the time. Like, why didn't I do Born to Rome 15 years ago? What was I thinking? What was I doing? That wasn't my time.
Right.
Um, and I think that we have to put in our heads that it is okay to start at whatever age.
It
It's
is
okay.
okay.
We'll
It
be fine.
is okay because I have a sign somewhere around here in my house. It's a picture and it says, Life is not about finding yourself, life is about creating yourself.
Oh, I love that.
And,
Yes,
and we have
absolutely.
to continually every day almost, of course we have these spans of time where we build in specific areas. Like you said, you started out with accessories and now you've moved on to hats. Eventually, who knows, you may move into something else,
Yeah,
but it accompanies already what you're doing. It just enhances it and makes it better,
that's
and
right.
that's what we strive for:
Yeah.
enhancing our life, those around us,
Mhm.
enhancing their lives. But we always have to remember that it's okay if we have to take a pivot.
It's okay.
It's
It's okay.
okay. And if
Recognition.
we
It's
right,
recognition.
if we have to, I'm working on a book now called Are You Present? And if we are present at every moment of your life, we will begin to recognize things about ourselves that either one will cause us to retreat or move forward. And
Yes.
we want to focus on both.
Yes.
Because when we feel it, it's like, okay, well, what do I do with this? Pay attention. You said it earlier that you're intentional. I spoke last week on the show about, this wasn't the topic, but part of the topic was intent focus, because we were talking about staying commit. Matter of fact, we were talking about being committed during challenging times. And when we are committed, we have this intent focus. And some people might say, oh, she's being standoffish or he's being standoffish. No, I'm intentional right now. I have this intent focus because I have a goal and I have
Absolutely.
to accomplish it. Otherwise, we could get sidetracked, but we have
Easily.
to keep moving forward.
Right.
Keep
That's right.
moving forward. My son was a wrestler when he was younger, and they always say, keep your feet moving, keep your feet moving. Because if you keep your feet moving, that person can't pin you down and cause you to lose this fight.
Right. Ooh, a metaphor for life.
Yes. And so just
Moving
keep your feet moving, baby. Don't
and
stop
not
your feet.
plant them. That's right.
Don't,
Keep
don't
roaming. Keep
keep
roaming. That's right.
roaming. Born to roam.
You're born to
And
roam.
we're gonna take another break. I know I'm behind on time, but we'll be all right. It's okay. So we're going to be right back. I promise you, in less than two.
Black excellence. Celebrate the achievements in the Black community. The core of the achievements is a mindset backed by action that displays strength and perseverance that will enhance the Black community. Black excellence is not a phrase that just became embedded in our collective consciousness, but its origins are deeply rooted in the civil rights movement. This is the evidence of the triumphant champions who came long before us. Black excellence is the standard.
And we are back talking about the adventures, the risk taking, the mindset that you have to become a successful entrepreneur. Let me just put it that way, because it's real easy to start a business. You just fill out some paperwork and voila, you have it. But then comes the work. And when we know that we have this vision, we have this baby, we carry it around, but I want to know, because I know where my space is, but do you have a special creative space that when you're there, it just seems to, the downloads just pour in?
Um, I will say my creative space is actually being outside. So when I am amongst others, I'm very inspired. So when I'm at events, dinner, brunch, happy hour, when I see other women, I'm inspired because I can, kind of put different looks together in my head and Naturally, I love to, just kind of see how people style certain things, especially I feel like with accessories, it's a little bit different because a lot of women don't know how to accessorize. And even in looking at my analytics for Born to Roam, I see that, certain hosts do really well. If we're showing them how to style a hat,
Mm-hmm.
our insights show us that they've saved it, they have forwarded to other people, because perhaps
Mm.
there's an intimidation when it comes to hats, especially with women. With men wear hats, I mean, all day, every day. That's really how men are with hats. Women haven't quite grasped the concept that hats can be worn to anything. We still kind of look at it as special occasion, whereas men wear hats just, grocery store, Um,
Right.
that's how I personally wear hats. I wear hats, Costco, Target, I don't care. I wear hats if I'm having a bad hair day, if I'm having a great hair day. So I'm inspired and the most creative when I'm actually out and about. So when I'm just in
Mm-hmm.
the city and seeing others, I'm inspired. I don't have like
Mm-hmm.
a place in my house, or I mean, I have a studio and at my warehouse. I, I'm
Mm-hmm.
I work there, so I mean, obviously there's things that are happening, and I have to create something comes to mind. I'm going to jot it down, but I think I'm most inspired when I see my people, when I see other women, I'm
Okay.
like, ah, okay, I have something, I have something coming. I
Yeah.
feel the creative juices begin to flow. Um,
Right. Right. That's interesting that you say that when you're among your people, because when I get amongst the people that I serve, I have often said to them, "No wonder we get along so well. You're my people," and
my
and
people,
we all have a people.
yeah,
We all have a people that we are to uh, keep thinking of cater to, but serve, but
yeah,
make feel happy. Because when you said when you're out and about and you see people around, you feel happy, you feel inspired, and that alone is a tool for somebody out there to find what it is to make you feel inspired. That you can, if you haven't lately, fire up those dreams again, or put some more fuel on the dream that you already have.
that's right, yeah,
I know there's something that we can always do to grow our dreams. I'm finding that out here lately, and we get on the path, and it'll just stuff will just start being on the path for you.
hmm,
That's what I'm discovering.
yeah,
It's not necessarily always so taxing or daunting when we create. It actually, for me, it's a release, and it usually opens up the door to something else.
yeah,
Because prime example, just doing spoken word one night, or I mean several nights, but in a particular place, and somebody saw it, and now they want me to do something else on a whole nother circuit, which I was like,
fantastic. Oh, that's
you want me,
amazing.
it's like you want me to be a mistress of ceremony for a music festival.
Oh my God. Oh, that's
Yeah.
incredible. I wasn't
me,
expecting that.
me
That's amazing.
either.
Oh
Me
my
either.
God.
And so, but that says that there's a path for all of us, and it's not the same for all of us. I wouldn't have thought that that would have been my plight in life before. I do know that I do like to talk. Yes, I used to get in trouble for it as a little girl
Yeah,
in
same
school.
here.
This,
Yeah, same here.
the-
Same here. I mean, you know your strengths. I mean, I think
right.
as today we parent, we look at things from a very different lens. Um, if I
Yes.
were to have a kid now that's in school, if they got in trouble for talking, I wouldn't be like scolding them. It's like, okay, they're clearly going to be, an extrovert that likes to communicate. I mean,
Right.
you're going to feed whatever it is, bad behavior. But I want to just speak to what you mentioned about in being in a creative space. I think it's
Hmm.
very important. in an entrepreneurial journey, there are many times that creativity is stifled for me, especially if I'm spreading myself too thin.
Mhm.
And I learned that a few years ago. I have an amazing operations director who has been with me since 2020, the top of 2021. And she keeps me in alignment with pretty much everything. She knows how to think. She knows how to think for me. She knows how to read my mind. Um, she's just everything I need and so much more. And what I realized is that it is important to delegate, because if I am spreading myself too thin, I am in the worst creative space. I can't even get out of my own head.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I realized that maybe about a year ago, because I was so stressed and so overwhelmed, and I'm like, I don't even have the energy to create. I don't have the finances to create, because it's very expensive in my world to create molds and samples, and
Mhm.
production is very expensive. Um, but if I take on too much responsibility, then I'm stifled. I cannot get
Mhm.
out of my
Mhm.
own head. So I think it's also important to know that it is okay to ask for help, most importantly. And
Yes.
I ask for help often. I am not prideful. If you tell me that you are good at something and you can take it off my plate, I am the first one. Like, remember you said, because
Right.
there is only so much I can do. I'm a very, very, very small business, and I'm also spread thin in other areas of my life. I still, got a husband, a kid, and other things and responsibilities that I have in my life. So
Mhm.
I think you have to be mindful of spreading yourself too thin as an entrepreneur, because we do it so often. We feel like, number one, most of us are afraid to ask for help because, again, we don't want to experience rejection. And sometimes that is the very thing that you need, is to ask for help. So
Exactly.
I encourage anyone that is on this journey or looking to become, a business owner, even if you're not trying to be in business or whatever the case may be, and you're just a person that is 9 to 5 in and living life, we have to ask for help. It is important.
Mhm.
It takes a village. We need one another. I mean, when people ask me for help, I'm not like, no, girl, I can't do it. There's times that I'm like, okay, this may not be the right time, but let me figure out what I can do to help you. But
Right.
we cannot be afraid to ask. And I think that
Exactly.
a lot of times we are, and it definitely stifles, next steps in business.
Definitely. What you're saying right now, I hope somebody is getting it. Matter of fact, I know somebody is getting it because otherwise you wouldn't have said it. Um, but we need to understand that it is so important for us to find our people who we can help them and they can help us. It's so important because that's the only way that we're going to grow.
That's it.
I mean, you and I can only do but so much
That's
from
right.
within ourselves. And
Hmm.
and just like you said, the reason we do spread so thin is because enough of us are not doing our part.
That's right.
We need to all do our part. We need to find where we connect. What industry do you love? What are you um, having some ideas about? What are you having some thoughts about that you can accomplish and do?
Right.
Because we have to believe in ourselves and believe in each other.
Absolutely.
Believe that everybody is not out to get me. Once we
Right.
get that out of our mindset, and yes, I'm not saying that everybody is good. No, I'm not saying that.
And that's what I was gonna say. Even if you get the rejection and someone's like, "No, I can't help you," I've encountered that before. I've asked someone for help, and the
Mhm.
response, I was like, "Wow!" And I had actually helped this person with something, but it did not dim my flame one bit. You know what I'm
Not
saying? So you have to
that
be
is
resilient and
perfect.
push through.
Yes, it didn't dim your flame, not one bit. It
No,
didn't stop you from being you. And that's what we have to acknowledge and stand on, is that I'm still me. When you begin to unconditionally love yourself, I finally found this out when I moved here. Actually, when you started your business, I was asked this question in a class. Are you unconditionally loving yourself? And the person did not say it to the entire room, even though it was probably only like 15 of us in there, but he said my name
Oh,
specifically,
God,
Stacy.
God be calling us out.
Uh, Stacy, are you unconditionally loving yourself? And I had to say no at that moment.
Wow.
But when I realized the benefit for my life and for your life too, that when we unconditionally love ourselves, we remove that stain of rejection.
That's right.
Because guess what? Because I love me so much, and not that I'm cocky or arrogant or conceited, but because I love me so much, whatever you say or whatever you do is not going to cause me to stop.
No,
It's not going to put my flame out. It is
no,
not going to put your flame out.
that's
So
right.
we have to remember, like the meme says, that God called you, but it wasn't a conference call.
I love that. I hadn't heard that one, but that's so true. Yeah,
It's
you.
you
He called you.
and you deciding
But only
that
you.
I'm going to stand up and be who I am. And
Hmm.
so to take us out, because you know time fly when you're really having fun. We
Yes.
about out of time here. Tell us how people can find you, how
Yeah.
they can support you, all that.
Yes. So, Born to Rome's website is www.weareborntorome.com, and that's WEARE, born, TO, Rome, like you're roaming, ROAM.com. Um, our Instagram page, our Facebook page, our TikTok page, our Twitter page, all our social handles is our Born to Rome shop. So that's Born, TOROAM shop. And my personal Instagram is Jennifer Bell Cornelius, I believe. If you go to Born to Rome shop, it's there in the bio. But those are the best ways to reach out to us, and we appreciate all the support and all the love, whether it's a like, a follow, a share, but most importantly, a purchase.
Yes, for sure. I'm so excited. And I didn't say before we started or while we were in conversation that I have been on Jennifer's website before, didn't know who she was. I happened to meet her at a wonderful event, her mom's birthday weekend, actually. And I'm so excited when I found out, oh my goodness, I'm actually talking to the person where I have been perusing on your website. Now it's time
That
to
made me
stop
so
perusing.
that
So,
made me so happy. Yes, go ahead and add to cart and check out. I
right?
appreciate you. Honestly, that made my whole day when you told me that. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome. So, see, you all, you never know who is out here watching you. You never know who might wind up on your website. And if the website wasn't up, I wouldn't have been able to see it. I wouldn't have this connection that I have with her, because now it's like, oh, definitely, I want to get some more beautiful hats, because guess what? Now I know the purpose
That's right.
behind it. And when we know about purpose, oh my goodness, we'll keep going, because I always warn people, once you tap into who you really are, that thing is eternal. It
That's
won't stop. You're
that's
gonna
right.
keep on, you're gonna want to do it forever. You're gonna stay committed to it. And I'm so appreciative of you being here with us today.
I'm
Oh my
grateful.
goodness. I'm so happy. You know, when you round somebody who just is light, and you feel light, like you just have, oh, this was just a wonderful time. So exciting that
I'm
we got to hang out and talk about Born to Rome.
Yes.
So you all make sure that you go to the boat. Let's crash her website today, y'all.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, Stacey. I'm so grateful that that you reached out to me, and I'm honored to support you as well because I love what you're doing and sharing your experiences and having your guests share. It's honestly an honor and a privilege, and I am grateful for you as well and what you are sharing with our community. Thank you.
You're so welcome. I don't think either one of us would be as light as we are if we were not walking in our purpose. So I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for this audience. I will never take you for granted. I appreciate you all so much and thank you for hanging out with us on a Friday evening or Friday afternoon, or who knows, it might be a Saturday morning. But I thank you all for hanging out with us and just making this time that we've spent with each other, this 1 hour out of the day, where we shared light and love. So we will see you next time. Tools for Everyday Living every Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on E360 TV.
Staying committed during life's challenges has requirements. First, we must make sound choices for our good. It is necessary to stay focused. The key is to have a target or well-defined focal point. What is the point of success we want to reach? We must decide to be dedicated to the best of who we are. Commitment will keep your feet moving. As long as there is movement, there is change. Make dedication, devotion, allegiance, loyalty, and faithfulness a promise to yourself. Keep you at the center and maintain balance by having a determined concentration. Producing mental strength which increases our power to succeed. Nothing worth having comes easy. Stay the course. If you want to learn more about being committed to you, email info@powerandresilience.com and send a request for more information. Always be awesome.
Letter, we can use it and make it something. So service is servant, excellence, resilience, victorious, imparting, consistently compassionate, and exceptional. That's service. We take on the servant mentality and have an excellent way to be able to produce it. But we're going to need some resilience. We're going to need some bounce back, because somebody's going to come and try to diminish what you are doing or saying. But we like, oh, well, life is going to show up and we might get, wobbled a little bit. But then in our resiliency, we become victorious. And then we are able to impart something in somebody that actually will help. And we can be consistently compassionate with anybody, because everybody in this room may not have had the same challenges, but I tell you what we've all got in common. We have felt pain, disappointment,